Hello and welcome back to Late Night Music Theory with your host, the Raven Baxter. I don't know why, but that was the accent that I thought of, and that was the voice that I thought of doing. Name I thought of doing, accent I thought of doing. It's been a day. As we can tell here with my tea of choice, it's actually not tea, it's medication because I am a bit sick. We have Theraflu. Now, is it the best? No. Is it effective? Let's hope so, because we are in winter and I am over here having to live like a snake. I always need heat on me. I don't like that. I love the winter for the coldness. That is the season and the holiday to eat you some ice cream. Now, did I say winter is a holiday? I did. And I mean every word behind it. I mean, if you don't agree, if you don't see my point, then what's wrong with you? But anyways, let's go to the complete opposite side of that spectrum. Even Paradise Reigns, we're back again for part two. We're going to go into it, as we always know, even deeper and more extensive than before. And here we have the tropics. Here we have the sunshine, not the rainbow yet, but we have the sunshine. We have the nice little lush foliage, and we can see Samaria off in the distance surfing, being on her wave board, doing what it is that she finds is most peaceful to her. Except, as we've discussed previously, even what she's doing that is supposed to be bringing herself peace, she can't escape the thoughts that are running with her, the things that she is escaping, choosing not to resolve. Control Alt Delete it and remove it from the mind. Now, with all of that being said, you like my Doctor Strange impression? That's what I was doing. You know, when he does. I'm going to try and have a video and upload it side by side because I think we're doing it right. But if not, then it is what it is. But with all that being said, let's get into the video. I know what you need. I know what you need. You need that. That is exactly what you need. And that's what we get within this track, Wish You Hell. We went from being personal to being raw, being all types of mushy gushy and in between with the sheer exposure of ourselves. We're almost like a hermit crab that has just shed its shell. And what immediately follows a track that is so vulnerable and exposing is Wish You Hell. It's not just putting back on that exterior, but it's more so almost going back to what I was saying before, where we're standing on things before we even have the time to regret it. But instead of that, realizing, no, this was wrong. And you caused so much hurt, or the group of people caused so much hurt that I, in fact, wish the worst on you. It kind of takes me back to that Baby Tate song and Forgive Me, but I cannot remember that track. Um, but it's something in it's going along to the extent of her wishing this man so bad that he does something. It's like this convoluted thing that he does. Is kind of like those insurance commercials where they say, if you miss out on this payment, then your car does this, and then your car explodes, and because your car explodes, your family has nowhere to go, and because your family has nowhere to go, they end up walking to a cliff, and because it's so dark at night and they can't see, they end up falling off a cliff. Do you want your family to die? No, then pay this car insurance. But anyways, through wishing these people the worst, as we've noted in past tracks when it comes to the production of it all, things felt numb and isolated and bleak in some cases. This one right here, doom 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 doom. This one right here feels like rock and roll. It feels very in your face, very abrasive, really. And that goes on to enunciate, maybe stand firmer in the idea of wishing somebody to hell. If you are going to put that title on a track, it needs to be felt. It's not going to be like, oh, they did me bad, but that's okay. I'll keep going. No. I want you to burn. I want you to go through the most sickest, roughest points in time in your life. I don't even need to see it. I can feel it. I can feel it in the spirits. I can feel it in any plane in existence that you're going through it. And that's bringing me joy and excitement. That's the song. We start off with the first verse of the track saying, "Wakey, wakey, take me from my sleep. Give me solace, give me with some peace. Flip me over, make it feel like tree. Don't tell you need someone else like me. Just not me, not me." So we start off with the track giving a little bit of a story time, as we know that we are essentially wishing bad on somebody else, to be awoken afterwards, after the occasion, as we're still going along in the concept of what was said needed to be said in that moment, and then we immediately left. Now we're waking up, we have some sleep, we have some well rested sleep. We can have a bit of peace, a bit of relaxation. As we all know, it's about to get rocky afterwards. And at some point, this feels like clarity. After everything's been released, there is nothing but a brief and temporary calmness. Now, with all that being said, I did do something that I always do and I will continue to do. I have no shame in it, and I make the song better. I made up my own lyrics. And in verse one, where she's saying, "Give me solace, gift me with some peace," I thought it said, "Give me solace, gift me rice and peas." Now, I thought that's where we were going. We're in the islands. Rice and peas. Duh, it's good. That is something that I would equate with a well adjusted sleep and being in relaxation. I don't know. But it also gets reinforced with the next line was saying, "Flip me over, make it feel like tree." Now, could that be alluded to wood? I don't know. I'm not gonna go that far. I'm not gonna go that far into that discussion. But I will say, Caribbean, come on now. We got rice and peas, we got tree. That I'm going with that line. I'm sticking with that line. I'm not going to explain that any further than what it needs to be. That's a good setup. I thought it was clever. And the storyline gets further painted when you get into the chorus where she's saying, "I hope I never have to see you progressing without me. Hope you sell out on a boat, then get lost at sea." I think that is so funny, as one of the known hobbies of her, and even in the cover art alone, she is surfing, indicating that she has some expertise on being out at sea and having peace being at sea. And if anybody needed help, she has the skills to bring them back. But also, she is wishing the worst on somebody else for her herself to be a form of relaxing. That is her form of therapy that she has mentioned before, where she just wants to be out at sea. So to wish that exact same thing that brings you joy onto somebody else that you know for a fact gives them fear, anxiety, or anything like that, that is a new level of low. It really is. And I respect that. When they go low, we go lower. Now, as much as things are being said, it is important in noting that I believe that Samaria put in more in the relationship, And if not, was the sole reason to the relationship still being where it is? Or maybe even its starting point of it, because she gives us lines that tells us even when reuniting, it not only reinforces the past memories that they've had together, but it also is showing them, no, you've always been lackluster, not up to my standards, and just downright negative towards my mental being, mental space, mental health. So you've actually got to go. And we get this on verse 2 where she's saying, tell you where to meet you, you still hit me on some. Keep me on my toes. I'm about to leave you in the past tense. Drive down, swerve, swerve, swerving while I'm dipping deep into this traffic. Wrap me up in plastic. You wish you ever had me. Wind on me. But wrap me up in plastic. Let's reverse all the events in time, all the events in history to the point where we were completely novel to each other. You didn't know one lick of me, I didn't know one lick of you. And let's keep it like that, actually. Let's rewind everything that we need to rewind so I don't even have to deal with this. Because before we were saying, I'd rather go on this trial, this journey of being alone, being disjointed in my peace, if it means not running into you again. So to have that further stood on, that adds to the joke of this whole song. As much as this song I feel as though is therapy to the artist, listening to this, I cannot help but laugh. In talking about this even more, I cannot help but laugh. So we what? Laugh. It is a funny song, but it is a funny song that came through the lens of pure anger and justifiable anger, as we see with restating I Hope You Get Lost to Sea. And so to follow that track of Serial Recluse and being so heavy, we need something a little bit lighthearted, but also gets the point across as a feeling and emotion we all know too well at some point in time. And that takes us into Tightrope. Within Tightrope, before we even start with any breakdown, any analysis, let's start off with a pre show to the breakdown, which is the title, Tightrope. It is not a compound word, it is disjointed and it is separated. And we must first ask ourselves, why are they two separate words? I went into asking if this could be an imagery of Samaria's boundaries and morals that need to stay consistent. And it is a fine line because it is, in fact, a tight rope. You get what I mean? Or it could mean that final straw. As we're going down the track listing of the project, you start to see it. I am noting it. We are numb. It almost feels like we're going deeper and deeper into a void. And so, by having this title called Tight Rope, especially after it follows Wish You Hell, where it was noted to be a little bit more brighter, almost seeming like we're going on up and up, this could be that final line or final gate to where we decide where she ends up going towards the end of the project. Where do we finish off at? Do we cross that line? Do we cross that boundary? We see what's going on as she's figuring out herself and figuring out what needs to be done on this tight rope. Does she end up falling? Is this rope over a pit? And her falling is the end and showing us, okay, we're going to go deeper into this descent of this void, or we're going to make it through in balance through all of the things that we've been talking about: life, personal, self-conceptions, potential. Maybe we balance it all and we make it to the other side coming back from our paradise into real life and saying, hey guys, I've reflected, I've become more at peace with myself. I know what needs to be done now. We'll see as we keep going. To the people out there that know how this story ends, stay with me. To the people who don't know how this story ends, let me know which way you think we're gonna go. We're gonna go left, right, we're gonna go up, we're gonna go down, we're gonna make it over, we're gonna fall into the pit. What we gonna do? What are we gonna do? But until then, I think it complements all the thoughts and questions that I formed within the production of this song. As I said, past track, a little bit brighter. This one, it's not brighter, but it feels as though everything is clicked. Everything is coming into shape and it's being figured out what the next step will be. So we start off the track with the intro saying, must bring some peace to you, making my life complicated. Say what you said, love, stand by your statement. Told you your love's too lazy. Let me know how you feeling, baby. Now, another thing that's important to this that's kind of interesting when it goes into my own history of things. This is similar to Chloe's Worried song, where she was in direct contact with somebody who took pride, took joy in disrupting her peace. The same thing could be happening here. In fact, I believe the same thing is being alluded to in this first intro, especially after we follow what we followed. If we focus on that line of Samaria stating your love is too lazy, that then doubles down, in fact, double dips on the exact statement we made of Samaria being the sole individual in the relationship that it may have felt like. During its peak, she was holding it down. Or during its ending, she was realizing I am the only one that's still staying consistent. You aren't consistent, not even to yourself right now. So let me step back, remove myself from the equation, and see my way up out of here. And we get that with the first verse saying, you know, I don't hold no one else above you. Keep me hostage just for your comfort, taking 100% of me. Got to leave you where you at. Should have known better than that. Could have gone further than this. Had you been in it just a little bit more, we could have taken things to the next level. This could have been something removed from my plate of stressors that got me to this point of escape. We could have been epic. We could have moved mountains. But it goes into everything that we have been saying time and time and time again. This is disrupting peace. And we hear that within the production, like I was saying, everything's clicking. The realizations are coming into play, as well as the realizations around those sentiments and regards. Because at this point, we notice there are no longer any lines that allude to going back into the relationship. It's just saying, oh, I missed these moments. But not, I miss these moments, let's try again. I just miss him. I missed you, past tense. I did. But now I'm trying to navigate on the up and up. And this is also talking about the music itself, on how we noted that she is constantly putting herself up to die, sacrificing parts of herself to get to where she is or where she hopes to be, and the cost of losing oneself for that dream. We're all working to get to that dream. Some of us are sacrificing more parts than others, but we will all get there. And that gets restated when we go into the chorus of saying, killed myself for this, I did it. Things just can't be fixed, I get it. Way to leave me out, how you move, I can't get with it. Feelings, any that I had diminished. Love I had for you is finished. How you move, I cannot get with it. I think this is something important in current history of discography goes, if we really get into it, because this is her last project. This is the last project that we have from her. And for her to say in those lines, not just to the partner saying that these are all the things that I gave up to get to this point, I did it. But with that being said, everything that I've had now moving forward, it's gone. The fire in me has been extinguished trying to keep up with everything going on. Balancing everything is exhausting. My spirits are deflated. It's gone. It's going to take time for me to replenish and come back. Hope you come back, girl. But come back. And with the line of saying, any that I had diminished, girl, this is the last project. Please don't leave it with just that. Come on, girl. You gotta come back. You gotta come back. Because how you moving with that one? I cannot get with it. Mm-mm. No. But she did it. She did it. She did all the actions that she said she was gonna do. Maybe she didn't get to that status, that fame yet. If she keeps going, she will. Yet, within music. But she got to a point where she has made an impact in her music, her sound. People of other statuses or on other levels have recognized it. These are all the things that are currently being balanced justifiably. And we'll see as we keep going where we go into best thing for me. I gotta put me first. I gotta put me first, Lucius. And that's what we're getting in this track. Of course, we can talk about the impacts of the relationship and the ex, but we already spent many other tracks talking about that. And with putting herself first, we're getting into the second track that is bright. This one is actually bright. Where the other one may be bright compared to the other songs, but even when going into that one, this one actually is. We're on the up and up. Everything is high. In fact, the range throughout the whole song, this is a high song. It really is. We're high on life. And it is putting herself first. She starts off by saying, losing you's been the best thing for me. I can't remember feeling this free. It's time to take a step forward. I'm picking up pieces of me. It's time to step forward. I'm picking up. Congratulations. I love that. Putting herself back together, focusing on that self-care, because we are in fact supposed to be in paradise where the focus of it is to promote that self-care, that reassurance in, okay, maybe everything's gonna be okay, we're going to get through it, we're gonna rise. Within the song there is an important line that I will be noting. She says, finally get to choose where they fall. One too many I've shed in the name of you. An important part of that is the finally. She is emphasizing how long it's been for her to finally be in charge of a long standing or long term choice. as we've gone through the tracks, saying everything's felt isolated, everything's felt bleak. It could be also draining. It could tie into those notions where it almost feels like we have no other choice, we have no other option, we just have to keep going. Or all these people are making these decisions for me as these are out of control things. Whereas it just doesn't feel like I have any say. But in this one aspect, I do. I have say in putting myself first. Not just ending a relationship. No, putting myself first. That comes above everything else. And this is something that I can now say I took the charge in. Nobody else did that. It was me. In fact, how I visualize this project is tightrope. The premise of it is taking place in between that track, Best Thing for Me, and the next track. And that visual encompasses everything that's about to happen, everything that's about to be divulged from this, right? Whereas Best Thing is living in the paradise itself. It's that song is the reason to her buying that plane ticket. That was the best thing. That was the start of putting herself first. As that can be said in everyday occurrences, all it takes is a little thing. Just put yourself first, one area, do what you can, do what you can manage, put yourself first. Go on that little coffee date. Go to that eatery. Eat by yourself. Have some food by yourself. Talk to yourself out loud. Stop caring. It's the little things that we do. It's the little things that get me high. You see what I'm saying? Won't you come with me and spend the night to do these little things by myself? For me, by me, which led to us even getting to this paradise. But as happy as I am that she is on this high of choosing herself, putting herself first, it also comes with the debilitating factor of that finally saying, well, hey girl, what do you mean you're finally in charge of the choices that you make? What's been going on? Like, we do not know their personal lives, of course. But to sit up here and say this one decision you were in charge of making and it made you feel this extent of free, because, like I said, the track is high. The production feels so freeing. This is bright music, also on the other end of that, outside of the track, this is my favorite track. Across this whole project, Serial Recluse has a close second place. But best thing for me, not only in the messaging, but just sonically, this song has it, and I'm forever gonna be right behind my girl, 10 toes down. In this case, 10 fingers down. But I don't play piano. Don't ask me to play a piano. I can maybe learn, maybe, but as a kid, I wanted to play, I think it was the flute. I don't know what about the flute. It was just something that I thought, hey, that looks cool. You know, everybody wanted to be the drums. I get it. I love a good drum. Even as a child, one thing that I could do is hit a table pretty hard. So, and I did that so well. I did, to the point where that was kind of my staple, you know, when going in school, you know, you have your little, I don't know if y'all did this, but me and my friends at the time, we had a little jam session thing going on. We would just be making beats or whatever, making beats, making random songs in the middle of class. Don't judge. That was that was the time. But back to what I was saying, outside of how bright it is, I find it funny how the intentionality behind emotions being a fleeting feeling, it really just comes in waves. As quick as an emotion can come, is as quick as it could go. Don't take that in a pessimistic way, just take that in a realist way, as I keep it realer than real. Best thing for me, which is Bright, all about putting me first. That's a 2 minute and 27-second track. Tightrope, where we're balancing everything, going through the nuances of things, all that X, Y, and Z. That's the longest track with 3 minutes and 23 seconds. So to go from something where we're balancing things are clicking though, to being on a much happier note, and it is along the lines, it's a little bit shorter. Best thing for me is a shorter track on average to the rest of the project. We see how this is going. You know, happiness is fleeting, but we'll see if it goes into a place of sustainability. And that brings us to our final destination, beating myself up. So in this song, we did regress. We did fall into that void that I visualized in Tightrope. But as we're falling into that void, that pit, we are going back on all the memories and events that brought us to this place, that brought us to the paradise, and eventually put us on this tightrope when it comes to trying to sort through identities and balance all the nuance and stresses in life, as well as maybe some vices, because we all have vices. But balancing all that, and when trying our hardest, trying our best, we still failed. We, in fact, crumpled and fell off that tightrope, that one small sliver of confidence in getting our life on track, getting to the other side of that pit, making it out for the bigger and better. But we fell. We're going to get back up. I guess we'll never know because this is her last project. So it leaves the ending a bit ambiguous and open to interpretation on where this falling or defeat will carry us into. Maybe in her personal life, she's in fact thriving after all that's happened. But we don't know these people. So the best we could do is go off of the music that we have before us. And that is in beating myself up. Now, this song is the most different from all other tracks. Like we were saying before, it kind of gets depressing. It kind of gets stale. But at the end of the day, these are human feelings, human emotions. Whereas in this song, the production feels robotic. And in feeling robotic, it feels detached, even with how it's sung. Everything, the loss of life, whether it is a filter over her words or things like that, to feel robotic on top of the beat itself feeling robotic, it just is detached. The words have lost meaning. The words are monotone. It's not conveying anything. It has lost its conviction. It's gone so much further past depressing and onto I don't even care to feel right now. Not even numb. Because when saying that you're feeling numb, there is some sort of human conception of where you have to be in order to feel that. You have to feel numb. But this is just nothing. It's being representative of that void that we fell into. It's just a pit of nothing. And that's what this song feels like. And as we continuously feel like nothing, the lines are constantly self critiquing to a whole new level than what we've had before. So within the first verse, we get, "Why am I no good at goodbyes? You showed me every way out. Want to think I'm one of a kind, but it gets way too loud. Used to get professional help, too scared of what they found." One thing to pay attention to when listening to this track, especially those lines, is whenever she's self critiquing herself, it's almost delivered in a glitching effect. It has that glitching tone, almost as if the lines themselves are glitching in and out of existence, going into falling into the void. We're fading in and out of things going on, and it goes along with the concept itself of running away, as we see in the last line of saying, "Used to get professional help, too scared of what they found." Whatever they found, no matter if it is something severe, drastic, or it could be light, because we don't even know yet because we ran away, it is all going towards the benefit of you having something you can identify and say, "Oh, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. I can point everything back to this one moment in time and work on resolving that." Because I feel as though that's the biggest theme within this project. We're running away from unresolved issues. And that is snowballing into the thing that we have now, which brings us to this song. Everything is leading up to the next, and it's completely on track with where we are. And you remember that imagery that I talked about, painted that picture? I feel as though it doesn't come into full effect until the 1 minute and 54-second mark. Because that is when the song almost goes into slow mo, reenacting that whole action of things happening in slow motion. But the song slows down, but it is specifically slowing down on the chorus of saying, "beating myself up." In fact, that is repeating constantly over and over and over again. And I find that interesting, as that is the opposite of the affirmations, in fact, her reaffirming herself in the previous track. You see what I'm putting down? You see the intentionality that she's putting within that, how they juxtapose each other, showing how the emotions are truly fleeting. Right. And all that comes into effect with the outro. Now, this song is short. So don't be surprised that the outro is here, because the song is only 2 minutes and 19 seconds. But we get that outro of her saying, "deep down." Also, one important thing that I need to note is, while falling through this void, there's nothing going on. It's just pitch black darkness. So, within the production of this outro, the production is stripped. Everything goes away, and it's just her vocals, and it feels as though it's echoing in a shroud of what, class? Exactly. Nothingness. Deep down, I want to stay, but still can't find no solid ground. I. Slick beat myself up, beating myself up, beating myself up, beating myself. I slick can't get enough of beating myself. The song hushes. Silence falls on the crowd, and that is the end of the project, leaving everything to be open to interpretation of how we come back from all of this. Going through that entire process of escaping it all, running away, going through the different facets of what it looks like to run away and avoid these things, while at the same time processing everything that brought us to these moments in time, all the way to the quote unquote end of everything. Is this the end? Could there be more to the story? Will we have a return? In addition to that, it must be noted that throughout this project, as we've navigated through the isolation, the reflection, in fact, the vulnerabilities, it is never to be taken away or diminish the fact that this project is so consistent. So ahead of its time, really, in the appreciation that it should have gotten with its ties to self conception and the relations, whether that be platonic or romantic, how everything has been navigated. And we have really gone into a small glimpse of her life, the life that she's chosen to share with us, as we've gotten a story, not just it being disjointed in where we are in feelings and emotions, because that may happen in certain moments. But if we look at the storybook of the entire project, we can see how we've gotten from cover to end. And that book alone is strong. It's consistent. Me re listening to this to the point of coming with questions, coming with subjects, giving you the breakdown and analysis of it all, it has shown and reintegrated itself within my mental discography of saying, hey, this is still a good project to this day. Of course, I wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't consistent. And I went back to it and I was like, oh, this isn't the best. It's still good. It still holds weight. It still should be appreciated and talked about. And that is something that is impressive, but not surprising to my girl. Because one thing about it, two things for sure, she gonna tell a story. And with that being said, that concludes the project of Even Paradise Reigns by Samaria. If you have any theories, if you were rolling with my theories, or if you disagree and you back up that disagreement, because I want to see it. I want to see it in a kid, and I want to see those thoughts. Like, comment, let me know what you think. Even if you don't have any theories, I am always interested. And I hope to see y'all later. And again, that has been Late Night Music Theory with your host. Bye.